So today on my diary entry, I'm thinking about the process of finding my biological father. So, when was that? 4 years ago, I took a test, a DNA test, and find out that I am actually Colombian and Brazilian, and a Mayan, and Peruvian, and Venezuelan, and Zimbabwean. So, I'm like the deep Aztec Mayan. Hold on. Y'all know this thing be shaking. I'm deep Aztec Mayan, which is why my skin is dark. And so my father is African and Mayan, and my biological mother is Brazilian and white. But my father, I think he's the one, I believe, who's related to also to whites as well, but not as much as my biological mother. So I'm in the process. At first, I was considering changing my name to Garcia because that name is tied to my mother. But when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, I probably shouldn't do that. Let me change it to my father, that's why it's called Kelly, because I'm closest related to the Kellys on my ancestry tree. So the process of finding my daddy has been difficult and filled with tears. When I got vocal about finding him, that's when my soon-to-be ex-husband had become an informant, and they all worked together to set me up because I said I was looking for my biological mother, which lets me know that my biological mother, because I understand the spiritual realm, she doesn't want to be found, but she is going to be found. I believe that my biological mother put me up for closed adoption, and she signed documents hoping that I would never know who she is. And maybe my father had rejected her. I don't know what happened. This was in 96, where I was conceived in 95. So, and it's difficult because I don't even know what hospital I was born in. I just know that I'm from Chicago, Illinois, right? I'm from Southside. So because of this, I have gone through a lot of difficult things, but I guess like when I hear people's advice, I just feel like it's like I have a spiritual mother, and I feel like I don't need a relationship with my mother because I don't respect her as a woman. I feel like as a woman, she's stupid and she made a bad decision, and I have no respect for her because if you didn't want to be a mother and if you didn't want to be a wife, then you should have just let my biological father get custody of me. But that was too much for her to deal with. It was too much for her to say that she wasn't a good woman. That would have been too embarrassing and too cliche, especially in the 90s. Being promiscuous in the 90s would have got her beyond labeled and branded. So she was real sneaky with hers, but almost 30 years later, the truth is coming out. So as I'm on this journey of looking for my biological dad, I hope he's not angry with me for what my mother did. And I hope that we can develop a relationship and get to know one another as father and daughter. Sometimes I wonder, I think that I'm my dad's twin. I'm just being honest. I really do. Even though my face is feminine and I am a girl, like from the do-rags to the braided hair to like having a mellow personality, just those types of things. I think that I do lean more towards my father and his personality. So I think in the Black community, what's crippling to our race and generation is not knowing who our biological dads are. And that's at the hand of the mother. Proverbs 31:3 says not to waste your strength on women, on those who destroy kings. And a lot of times women can play the victim, especially in the court system when it comes to child support. They can play the victim especially against black men, to try to make it seem like black men are so terrible. And they do play the victim a lot. But the truth of the matter is, many times they just don't want to own up to the fact that they were being promiscuous. And sometimes black women will go so far, they'll call the police, they'll call the cops on a black man. They'll do all types of stuff on the to a black man because they don't want to confess that they don't know who the father of their child is. But that's tea. And then also too, when they have been rejected and when they don't want to be in a relationship, when a man doesn't want to be in a relationship with them because of, it could be their hygiene, it could be their lying, it could be their emotional abuse, whatever, then they weaponize the child and say that they don't want the child around the father because he doesn't want to be with them, which is what I think happened to me. So I'm fixing the problem of my life that happened 30 years ago. So I'm dealing with a 30-year problem and I'm determined to get it in order. So y'all gonna be seeing the journey of me looking for my biological daddy. Hopefully he'll be on my YouTube channel soon.